Wake Up MLS Match Day 33. Midweek match, midweek madness probably on the horizon. I don't know what it is about MLS, but these Wednesday night games always have this sense, this feel of producing upsets and I say upsets, meaning our predictions here on this show. I think we have a terrible record on Wednesday nights, but we are aiming to rectify all of that with tonight's video. As usual, I'm joined by Hitman Honda himself, LA Galaxy fan. We have Hector from Insert Name FC. And we have Davi from the Blue Burrows Pod on Wake Up MLS here on the Goals TV channel today to predict how we think match day 33 is going to go. All right. And keep in mind, guys, a full slate of matches. And we are coming off of match day 32 that did not disappoint, man. Holy shit. Everything from Dynamo just having RSL's number all the way through, pumping 4 goals on them. El Tráfico delivered on a level that I haven't seen in quite some time. I did say it was a must-win for the Galaxy. Honda, I'm not even going to lie, bro. You guys had me nervous. You guys had me fucking nervous. I was like, dude, if you guys get shit on again, I don't know what's going to happen to Galaxy as they get closer to the playoffs. But now I think mathematically you guys have locked up your spot in playoffs, no?
We locked up our spot in the playoffs, and it's not even the play-in. Like, we can't go to the play-in anymore. It's pure playoffs from here on out.
Yeah, bro. I think the Galaxy now, even with the games LAFC has in hand, kind of insane. And, bro, what an experience for guys like Giroud, guys like Lloris, who, came over to MLS, probably expected to just flat out win everything, every game imaginable. And they experienced one of the most epic comebacks I've probably seen in MLS in quite some time.
And now they signed Carlos Vela.
Yeah, they brought back the icon, not to be confused with legend, Carlos Vela.
Legend, but we
I'm sure LAFC fans will disagree with me, but I firmly believe he's an icon of LA, and he is back with LAFC post-upset in El Tráfico. Yeah, bro, crazy week. On top of that, bro, NYCFC somehow finding another way to drop points, even on the road against DC, where DC haven't been that good at home. Look, there's a lot that took place. St. Louis lost at home. There's so much that happened this past week. We'll talk about it as we cruise through the preview. But before we get there, if you haven't done so already, or if you're new to the channel, like the video down below, subscribe. We do these weekly prediction videos, as it's alluded to, every single week. And we definitely want to make sure you can take part. All right. And of course, along the way, let us know how you feel about our picks down below. That always helps. All right, man. Look, Davi, we're going to get right into it, bro. Our Eastern Conference matchup to start things off for this week. NYCFC hosting Philadelphia. NYCFC coming off of how many draws, or I should say, how many matches now is it in a row where NYCFC have dropped points, Davi?
For looking at MLS, let me check here.
It's quite a few. I think you guys are pushing like double digits.
Quite a few, yeah. We haven't won a game since July 3rd in the league. It was Montreal, a 2-0 win at Citi Field.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. Now, I will say this, bro, because I know you were very upset after the DC game. I will say this. Did you guys not have a goal wrongfully called back?
Yeah, we did. Alonso Martinez, he perfectly timed his run behind the defender, slotted it home, and VAR didn't even bother to look at it. They just raised the flag. And, I mean, honestly, both teams got robbed. That was the worst refereeing crew I've ever witnessed in my life. And I've been watching this sport for about a decade now. Those four refs need to be fired expeditiously. Like, that's Remy Toussaint, more like Remy Touchit. He's lost control of it in DC. Even though it was a foul in the build-up, it was still a controversial goal to take back, and it was just controversy everywhere. Both teams got goals wrongfully disallowed, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I will say the Martinez goal for me sticks out, and it's because it's this late in the season, and because they don't even bother going to fucking VAR. Like, what's the point of having the tool? What's the point of the league paying to have the technology if you don't even see the value in using it, right? And using it in scenarios where you're not sure. And you can't tell me, no one at that game could tell me that they were 100% sure he was offside, right? Because when you go back and look at the replay, he clearly wasn't.
He perfectly timed his run.
And
that's why Alonso Martinez is our starting striker, and nobody's going to catch him. Not Munsa Bakrar, not Jovan Mijatovic. That 9 spot is purely his.
But it reinforces my fact that And I will also say the fact that NYCFC still manages to drop points so many times this season after having the lead, it reinforces the fact that I don't necessarily believe that Cushing is really the issue. I think he's part of it. Don't get me wrong. He's not the best manager in the world, but I still feel maybe there's a mentality issue too, there that I'm not, I don't have any insight into. But I still feel like when you're dropping games late or at any point when you have a lead, it's happened several times this season. I think it has to be a mentality with the players at some point, right? It's almost like looking at Everton in the Premier League. I don't blame Sean Dyche for that shit. Like, bro, like the last 2 games, they've had 2-0 leads and they cough up 3 goals in the final 10 minutes both times. You can't fault the manager for that. And obviously that's an exaggerated example to compare to Cushing, but I think that it's a mixture of things that can't be scapegoated to one person, right? I think it's collectively NYCFC just has to do better. And I think you have a unique opportunity to do that now against the Philadelphia team who will show up because they're still trying to make playoffs, right? But at the end of the day, they're coming off this very demoralizing 3-1 loss to Miami where Messi came right back into MLS, got right back on the score sheet. That game got, out of their hands very quickly for the most part. And now they got to travel to NYC, play in that horrid baseball stadium, and now
respect Yankee Stadium.
play in that baseball stadium. And now you probably have a good opportunity to get right back on track. Like you said before, haven't won a full 3 points since before Leagues Cup. So how do you guys do it this week?
You just got to go out there and win. I mean, it's
fight and win, as Hector would say.
Back at Yankee Stadium, even though the Chicago game was very
Seattle would say.
the Chicago game was very demoralizing because you drop, even though it's City Field, it's the same thing. It's like the field's the same. You shouldn't be dropping points to Chicago at home. We haven't been at Yankee Stadium in a while. We haven't been there since July 28th against Querétaro. That was a penalty shootout win. I think if you come out early, you take a 1-0 lead. I think there's a good chance that you can go and get yourself a comfortable victory at home. But I mean, the players, they haven't. Every time we get a lead, we just blow it. We've blown it in the past 3 league games in the cup, in the past 2 Leagues Cup games too. So I don't trust these players to make the correct decision.
NYCFC haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 7 games. And I think that just kind of summarizes a little bit where you guys are defensively. But I agree with you. I think you guys can still score and potentially lead to a comfortable victory, right? Like, I like at the end of the day, you guys have outscored Philadelphia in the last, let's say, month to month and a half, despite the fact that you've dropped points consistently. I think, at the end of the day, if you can control Gazdag, if you can prevent Kai Wagner from having free crosses, because I think he leads them in big chances created for Philly. It's just because he's so free whenever he gets this opportunity to whip the ball in or whatever the case may be. So I think if you limit some of that, NYCFC should break this duck that they're on. I'm going to back NYCFC to win. It might be like a 2-1, maybe a 3-1. I think Philly will score. I just think you guys should have the upper hand. And keep in mind, if you're a betting person at home, these 2 teams have not drawn any other previous 7 matches against one another. There will be goals. There will likely be a winner. So I'm going to back NYC. How are you guys feeling?
You already know my agenda. I'm going to back NYCFC.
As soon as he unmuted and he just started stretching out, I knew he was going to say that the vendetta's alive and we're gonna keep it going. Hopefully, I think it's going to be ugly, but I think we'll win 2-1, and this game will probably give us false hope going into Miami. In which I mean, at that point, if you listen to my pod, I'm mentally checked out for the season. I think our season's done.
Nah, don't be that way. No, don't be that way. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean, I just seen this team just carry on their 2023 form, except they have a couple more wins to their name.
Fair, but we've also seen teams in MLS, unlike any other league in the world. I feel like we see teams that out of nowhere will find a positive bounce, and that spins itself off into a decent run of form. That for last season, that was Sporting Kansas City, right? Literally didn't win a game for 3 months, and then went on the craziest run of their lives.
That's how NYCFC won the cup.
Yeah,
that's how we won the cup.
Exactly. So
No,
look,
you're not talking me to a championship DVD moment, Jose.
No. I'm not screaming championship DVD. I'm
Nah,
saying
that's
that.
for Orlando, bro.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, who would do that?
Yeah. I wonder who would make that pick. I think though, like it's still early, bro. Too early, and you never know. A positive result against Philadelphia, even if it is false hope, maybe false hope is kind of what you guys need a little bit. Right now, you need some kind of hope. Doesn't matter if it's false or not. You should break the duck and then see what happens. Miami could be checked out, right? We'll talk about that in a later episode. They could be checked out for that game. So basically have their hands on the supporter shield. I mean, I don't know. To me, there's some things going in your favor, but
I mean, it's messy. So, I mean,
fair.
to me, I'm going to the game tomorrow night, and I'm going to the game against Miami. And at this
What are you gonna
point,
do?
like,
What are you gonna do if Atlanta draws or beats Miami again? Because keep in mind they did beat them before Pineda was fired.
you just gotta wait and see.
Yeah, we'll find
Gotta
out.
wait and see. That's all.
Okay, so me and Davi back at NYC. Honda is doing out the agenda. Hector,
Man, this is I feel like this is one of those like get right games, like for both teams.
yeah,
I mean, say what you want about Philadelphia, and I've said a lot of things about Philadelphia, but they're still somehow in it in a weird way. And I think obviously, once again, we mentioned this. It's not that the Eastern Conference is an elite conference; it's just that it's a very top heavy conference. So that way, so at that point, the bottom of the barrel, it's a very narrow barrel. It's a very shallow barrel. It's not that it ain't that deep. So Philadelphia is still mathematically in it, I think. But at the same time, NYCFC having at least the mentality issues that Davi has brought up, where they're just not able to finish the games out. Keep that clean sheet. And I mean, obviously, this last game, it's unfortunate that officiating was that impactful to the game. And, everybody wants to say, like, oh, we don't want to use that as an excuse. But unfortunately, this was one of those excuses. It was inexcusable that VAR was not utilized in the game, because this would have changed the entire mood of how you went into this game if VAR even stepped in and looked into that goal. And but I think it is a get right game for both these teams. More so for Philadelphia, but traveling into New York, traveling into a place that they're not that familiar with, which is Yankee Stadium, having to play in that baseball stadium is not easy. And I mean, I just don't see Philadelphia getting any better. I think they're going to keep going on the downward slope that they're in right now. So give me NYCFC.
Yes, sir. Clean sweep. But there you go. We got to see the boys do it.
we're either all right or all wrong. We'll figure it out. I don't know. MLS midweek always has its own way of kicking us in the ass. So we'll find out.
It does seem like an MLS type game too.
It does. It does. It really does. We'll see. I still feel really good about this, but I have been burned in the past. All right, let's move on into the Western Conference. Over to Houston we go as they host the Whitecaps. Probably a playoff matchup, really. I think so. I think with where these two teams are at, what we know about them. Two good teams, one coming off a fantastic win against RSL. They will be hosting the Caps, who, had a very clinical victory against one of the worst teams in the league, plain and simple. I think something to note here when it comes to these two teams who have a lot of experience against each other. I don't think Vancouver's won in Houston since like 2018. I think it's been that long. Any victory, especially some of the big ones they've had, I think there was like a 6-2 back in 2023. It's all come at BC Place. So Houston, I think even statistically and probably on the betting front are probably just favored here. Hector, we'll start with you, bro. Work our way around. Coming off a big win, going up against, neighbors to the north, I guess you could say, in terms of Vancouver. How do you feel about this game? I mean, are you treating it like a playoff match, or is it not that serious yet?
Oh, it's super serious. This is a 6-point opportunity.
Yeah.
If you're the Dynamo, you want to improve your position in the playoffs. You don't want to be in that wild card position. So if you can get yourself more and more, which right now they're 4 points ahead of the team that's currently in that 8th place spot, but you want to keep putting separation away from there because you want a secured playoff spot and hope ideally a home field advantage as well. And it obviously everything favors the Dynamo when we talk about going to Shell Energy, right? The heat, especially when we're talking about Vancouver. But there is going to be a big loss for the Dynamo. Ache will be out for 2 to 3 weeks. He had a hamstring injury, so he's dealing with that. Should be back by playoffs. So this is one of those games where I'm looking at Coco Carrasquilla, and he needs to step up. I mentioned it when we started the season that Coco Carrasquilla has to be that guy that steps up when Achacha was out for his injury. It was overwhelming that he was not really able to step up in the way that I wanted him. It was more so other guys stepping up. Obviously, Griffin Dorsey it's been nothing but a breath of fresh air this year. But it's gonna be on the team to see who steps up. I think Latif Blessing is another name to keep an eye on for the Houston Dynamo, seeing if he's able to do anything. They just signed Junior Moreno, has a lot of experience with Ben Olsen. So I'm not guessing. I don't think he's coming into this game by any means, but at least for these next 2 to 3 weeks without Ache, the Dynamo is going to have to do a lot of next man up stuff, which I mean they did very well in the beginning of the season, anyways. But like I said, when you have this back line, you feel like all you need to do is just find your opening and put one in the back of the net, which they need to do quickly because this Vancouver attack can't score and can't score fast.
Yeah, I agree. They're just efficient, right? Like I feel like even when Dallas played them last week, it was just one of those scenarios where they got very unlucky. They had also Jimmy Marr, the backup to Paz during the national break, honestly had the game of his fucking life, and that's probably the only reason that we didn't walk out of there with 0 points. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting game. I still am expecting Houston to at least get a point. I think at home. And the record working against Vancouver, right? Just they haven't won there in so long. It's been 6 years now. I don't see that negative streak breaking here. I really think Houston should at least get a point and create some of that separation that you kind of referenced before. Without Achache, though, I think it becomes a different game in terms of how you control the game, how you keep Vancouver pinned, at least in the midfield. I think Achache looked good against Salt Lake. So we'll see if that has a major impact. But you know who also looked good? Carrasquilla. Carrasquilla had some blistering runs in that too. And I feel like maybe you're getting not the best version yet, but maybe he's trending in that direction at the right time of the season, which is what you want if you're a Houston fan. So all right, lads, let's make our picks, man. How are we feeling about this one? It pains me to pick Houston to win, but I think that might be what happens here.
Give me the dog handlers, bro. Give me Houston.
Give me the dog handlers. The dog walkers. We should have done that meme.
Dog
Hector.
whisperer.
You should have done it, bro. The GTA meme.
The dog whisperer.
Yeah, the dog whisperers.
LAFC
the GTA meme where you got the
Salt Lake.
pit bull, and you're fucking controlling RSL. That would have been hilarious. Davia, how you see it going, bro?
Give me Houston.
Yeah. It looks that way, man. It looks that way. I do think some of the goals that RSL that Houston scored were also just RSL failing to clear, but you got to capitalize when you get the moment, and Houston did that. So
also, you got to point out just a masterclass performance defensively in that RSL game as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Dynamo were putting their bodies in front of everything that was getting shot at them. So, which is what I'm hoping they're able to do against Vancouver. I'm going to say a Dynamo win. Like I said, this is a real 6-pointer opportunity to get ahead of Vancouver and get further away from that wild card spot.
Yeah.
Oh, no, draw this time.
I think for the sake of that, I'm going to say draw. I think they'll create some separation, but it'll be minimal, and it might even go down to decision day before we identify between 6th to 9th who really ends up in those spots. But I at the end of the season, I don't expect Houston to be there. I think Houston will be in a spot where they have a little more control of their fate, and they're not praying that they don't end up in wild card. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But this will be a good game, man. I'm excited for it, especially if Houston keep this scoring going, bro. Like we've been talking about it all season. That's what we've been waiting for, the goals to fall. Maybe it's happening at the right time. We'll find out. All right, but speaking of RSL, right, the dogs who got handled, my boys Dallas will be making the trip. If you guys don't remember how the first leg went, it was in Dallas. It was that epically fucking shit draw 3-3 where we were up 3-0 and let them climb all the way back into the game in front of our own fans. And it's a draw that felt like a loss. And now the benefit I would say of this time around is having all 3 DPs available. They will be ready for this game. I don't know if Velasco will start, but I expect Ferreira and Musa to start. At least I expect it. If they don't because they rotate, it is what it is. Because keep in mind, Dallas has LAFC at the weekend here at home. So I will be at that game on Saturday. But RSL and LAFC back-to-back, there's got to be some bad karma from the fucking Hunt family or some shit, bro. Like, I don't know. It's a terrible, like, back-to-back matchup, especially with one of those being midweek. But can't complain about the schedule too much. It is what it is. Both teams not in great form. I think RSL, even beyond the Houston game, is kind of cooling off a little bit. And that's not what you want to hear about your team heading into this part of the season. But I think that gives us a chance. In my opinion, it gives Dallas a chance to steal a point, maybe even 3 points if our shooting boots are tied up correctly. So it's going to be a close game. For me, I did a prediction with the RSL Random Fan podcast yesterday, and I said realistically, I think this is probably going to be a draw 2-2. But if I had to throw my bias into this shit, if we're going off the agenda, I'm going to say 3-2 Dallas. I think both defenses will let in goals. Like, dude, if you watch RSL against Houston, and Hector, you'll agree with me on this, it felt like they just did. There was no urgency. Like, there were plenty of, like, just rebound shots from Houston that were coming in, almost flurrying in, and just RSL didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, they just didn't even try to, like, clear for some of those. It felt like Houston was going to win every second and third ball, every second and third opportunity. And I'm hoping that we get more of the same when Dallas travels up there. But, I mean, Hector, you just saw him play, bro. I mean, and you've seen Dallas 2 or 3 times this season. Like, do you see a path for Musa or Farrington or some of these guys to exploit RSL?
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, like I said, like I've complained many times, the Dynamo is not necessarily the best attacking team in the MLS. Do they find ways to score goals? Of course. I mean, all 4 goals came from different players. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what's going on with RSL, man. They went from these dogs that I was hyping up every single week to maybe they're one of the teams that maybe got hot way too early. And now we're kind of seeing them sizzle out. I think maybe Leagues Cup was a factor because since coming back from Leagues Cup, they've only got 1 win, and that was against New England. They lost to San Jose and lost to Dynamo. So it has been a poor run of form for RSL. And that's not a good thing for them. Obviously for them, their goal is to get a home playoff series. Obviously how they feel about Salt Lake is, I think it's a good home field advantage. That altitude benefits them as long as they're not playing Colorado. And I think, they're in it's one of those, like, I'm not saying that they need to start winning. They're in a must win now, but they are definitely now in a must win situation now where they can't let these games slip up on them. There was a lot of poor body language, like you mentioned, on them. There was no urgency, not necessarily something you want to say from a team that you've been calling dogs, because they make you fight for every single scrap that comes your way. So I think that RSL needs to find that dog back in them. And I think if they're still trying to find that, FC Dallas has a good shot at taking advantage while RSL is still trying to find their mentality again.
Yeah. Crazy stat, by the way. In the last 5 meetings against RSL, Dallas has not lost. It's been 3 wins and 2 draws. So, and on top of that, right, based off recent form, in the last 5 games, Dallas has outscored RSL 7-5. And so it's kind of interesting, right? You have 2 of the very best goal scorers in the league, in Arango with 17 and Musa with 14, going at it in this game. And based off recent form, even just hearing those stats and hearing our recent, track record against this team and this franchise, it's hard not to back my boys. And from my perspective, right? I'm biased, obviously. So let's make the picks. I'm going to say 3-2 Dallas. How are you guys feeling? Anybody can go.
I'm going to say draw.
The dogs got neutered when Chicho Arango got his injury.
He got a crazy goal against Houston, though.
Yeah.
right? That was like a weird ass fucking like scorpion kick or something like that, right?
I
But
feel like
did they
teams
win?
are not as afraid
But
of
did
him.
they win?
Very true. Very true.
I feel like teams are not as afraid of him as beforehand because you would see teams in the back as well too, just like trying to
Yeah.
keep him out. Whereas right now, they're like, okay, let him play a little bit, but don't give him too much room, right?
Mhm.
I think it would be a 2-2 draw though out of this.
That's a fair take. Fair take.
Anybody here feels like that suspension definitely took a lot out of Arango?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. It's I still don't even think we have clarity on like what actually happened, right? Like, I mean, did they ever say like what the offense actually was?
Not entirely sure. I think the wording at the end of it sounded like he was just being an asshole, which is kind of what you want from a tough captain. But
Yeah. I don't know. Even RSL fans to this day, like I said, I was on a pod yesterday, and like they still don't even have a ton of clarity. It's kind of just like, well, we just have to accept the suspension. And yeah, since then he's been out of form. Since then, McMath, the keeper, they've moved away from him, gone to the backup because of recent form. The back line's kind of in a weird place. So I don't know. I think Dallas has a shot, but it also equally wouldn't surprise me if we just walked in there, had a lead, and then threw it away at the end like we did last time and walked out of there with a draw. So.
I just saw that goal. That's a Lord Jairzinho type goal.
Yeah.
Okay, don't give him that much credit.
Yeah. Davi, how you feel about this one? Is this going to go RSL's way or do you back Dallas?
I'm gonna go with the draw.
Another cagey draw. Okay. And Hector, yours was
draw.
Damn, bro. A sweep of draws. I'm going to be the outlier. I'm going to obviously with my agenda pick Dallas, but it wouldn't surprise me. And a draw wouldn't be terrible at the end of the day, but I think we're 5 points off of a wild card spot. We need some help from Minnesota. It would dramatically help us to get 3 points in this game. It really would, especially with LAFC at the weekend. So we'll see how it all goes down. All right.
I'm telling you, Orlando, San Jose, those 2 games you got to win.
Yeah, no, I think we have to win every game at home moving forward. It would just be a massive, massive road win to do it at RSL, like just with everything that's on the line. So we'll see, man. We definitely all agree there. All right, LAFC hosting Austin, and this game,
bro.
Yeah, no, Hernan, we miss you, bro. This would have been a great episode to have you on, just because your 2 dogs in MLS are going at it.
The Hernan Derby is what
the
we call it.
Hernan Derby. I like that. And he's seen this game in Cali back when Austin FC was still good. That's not the case anymore. So now moving into this matchup, and look, despite recent form, right, with Austin, LAFC is also coming off a loss, a very heartbreaking loss. I got a feeling they're going to want to rectify that immediately at home in front of their 3-2-5-2 crowd against a team in Austin that is behind Dallas still, had another chance, the second week in a row to make the leap up the table to get into a playoff spot, could not do it. And now we're in a position where they need just a good amount of help from other teams to even be in that conversation. So going up against LAFC, this game traditionally has delivered. Like I don't think either team has ever really blown the other one out. Like it has traditionally delivered great games head to head. Last year, I think 2-0 was probably the bigger one, right? But there's been a 1-1, a 4-2. Like there's always been like a game with goals between these two teams, and even a little bit of banter and bad blood between fan bases. So
there's a couple 3-goal wins by both sides, and the fixture,
it's crazy. Yeah. And so there's going to be goals here, man. LAFC have not lost to Austin in their last 5, but I don't want that to factor too much in. I think obviously recent, Bowanga-led LAFC has looked a little bit different. But with everything that LAFC is going for now, with the games they have in hand against the Galaxy, because that's what they're looking at, right? The top 2 places in the West. Are they going to come out swinging after what Galaxy did to them, Honda?
They have to. They have to show that, okay, we are still one of the top dogs, if not the top dog of the West, right? And if they don't whoop Austin's ass, right, that, I don't know. It's not going to be like completely, oh, shit, the bricks and that, but they need to prove to themselves why they are there.
LAFC have only scored 4 goals in the last 5 games. Let that shit sink in, bro. crazy
opportunity for them.
Yeah, technically, excuse me, you're getting the version of LAFC that you probably want, at least based on goal scoring form. Now they've created a bunch of chances in those games, right? But the El Tráfico was the most they've scored. That and it's probably the most they've scored in like 6-7 matches. The 2 goals. They drew to Houston at Houston 0-0. They lost to Houston 2-0 at home. Barely beat the Sounders 1-0 and then lost to the Crew 3-1. So it's
These
like
are all playoff teams as well too, if you think about it.
Yeah, but the one game they won in Seattle, which I will say, and Xiao Yan, I'm sure will agree with me, is that's probably the game where they probably should have won a little bit more clinically and comfortably. But it's a win at Lumen Field. It's turf. It's a rampant Seattle crowd. It's difficult, but I don't know. This one's hard for me to predict, man. I'm probably gonna have to back LAFC just because I feel like on paper and probably in recent form, they're still the better team. But this could be a chance for Austin to get the upset that they want. I just don't know where the goals come from. We've been saying this about Austin for weeks now. Where the hell are the goals going to come from?
Zardes.
What'd you say? Zardes?
Yeah.
I mean,
the fuck up, right?
Where are you at? Where are you at?
Zardes is not getting these goals, bro. I respect the man. He gets more respect from me than most of our crew on the show. But yeah, he can't save this team. Ain't no way.
I mean, what's disrespectful saying he scored a Zardes type goal?
Because you know what you're saying when you say that shit. You know what you're saying. It's a shithousery goal that doesn't require a lot of skill and just happened to go in. Like that's usually what people say when they say it scored a very Giassi's out of this goal, right? Am I wrong?
But he's very elite at it. I mean,
it's a skill, bro. Yeah, he's
you can't
good.
make that up.
You're right. You definitely can't. You definitely can't.
Listen, all I'm saying is Miguel Tabat came before him, all right?
Oh, stop. Ain't no way, bro. Look, but seriously, where do these goals come from? Is it? I mean, Driussi's not scoring them. I don't know what the fuck has to happen with this Austin team, but like they want to blame Wolf all they want as a fan base. It's not. It's kind of how I feel about NYCFC, right? It's like you can blame Cushing all you want, you can blame Wolf all you want if you're Austin, but he can't put the ball in the back of the fucking net for you. Like. You have to take your chances. You have to bury teams if you want to be a playoff relevant team in a league that lets 2/3 of its teams in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Well, like I don't know.
The difference is that Austin, they're on the outside looking in. NYCFC, at least they've had the form where like they seemed unstoppable, and
which is why I'm shocked that you're like, fuck Cushing, he needs to be out, or it's only his fault. Like that to me doesn't make any sense.
It's been his track record since he took over the team.
But it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse.
It could.
I think when you're looking at NYC versus Austin, I think the Austin right now is just that this could slip at any time and they're out of the playoff race. At least I think that's what especially if you keep playing like this, right? How further down can we keep going if we continue playing like that is going on with NYCFC. With Austin, I think that there's still a part of some of the fans. I know there's some fans that are talking about that they're selling their season tickets away. They don't want to watch this product anymore. That's
hilarious to see, by the way. That's crazy.
It's not like I've been watching these videos or anything. But it at the same time, it's one of those weird things where if Austin if they somehow beat LAFC, you're not going to see a more crazier fan base just get back in the saddle and think that they're back.
I'm not selling my tickets anymore. I'm keeping them around. Bro, that shit hilarious.
Wolf is a pretty good manager. We're gonna start.
Turns out Wolf's not that bad. Yeah, he's actually pretty good. You know what's crazy? Austin had, outside of the win at Nashville a few weeks ago, back in late August. Outside of that win, the last win in MLS regular season play came July 6th when coincidentally they took down NYCFC 2-1 at home.
Oh, I wonder who scored.
Yeah. What a game, man. Zardes, not classic Zardes goals, by the way, having the brace against NYCFC in that game, but it's just I don't know.
I seriously just right now trying to figure out if at any point did Zardes play in NYCFC, and he has not.
I know, actually that would have been hilarious.
It sounds like Zardes sounds like a guy that may have played for every MLS team, but he hasn't.
He sounds, yeah, like he I don't know if I don't know if this is accurate, like a poor man's Kai Kamara, you know, like the journeyman that no one really respects. I feel like there's a lot of respect for Kai Kamara, but there wouldn't be for Zardes if he was in his shoes. You know what I mean?
Listen, there's more respect for Lassiter from my end than for Zardes.
Oh god,
Yeah.
you gotta hear the Lassiter story again, bro.
Nah,
Like
bro,
nobody
yo.
gives a shit. Nobody cares, bro. Like literally nobody
yo.
cares.
Nah,
Well, we
bro.
all respect Roy Lassiter.
Yes, Roy Lassiter's. Yeah, we're not talking about Roy Lassiter, by the way, who I believe is like a Hall of Fame legend. We're talking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
coach
his-
of the Carolina Corps, by the way.
Yeah. We're talking about the journeyman Lassiter,
Yeah,
who frankly, yeah, is probably a little more comparable to Giannis.
Lassiter's record stood until 2018, which is crazy.
Yeah, seriously, insane. Look, I can't predict like an actual score line. I just feel like doesn't matter what the score is, whether it's close or not. I think LAFC should win this game. If they don't, the timeline will be unbearable. Like I can't even imagine it. There's just like because of Goals TV and whatnot, there are creators at Austin FC that I follow. I'm trying to get on Twitter. I'll probably keep it that way. But yeah, I expect LAFC to win this game. How are you guys feeling?
I pray for us, and LA is gonna come out. And
I pray
they're gonna beat the brakes out of them. They're gonna beat the shit out of them. I already know it. LAFC, they're probably pissed as fuck right now, and they just see Austin as another obstacle, and bang, you're just gonna punch them right in the mouth. It's gonna get ugly for Austin.
Dude, all the memes about the comeback and El Tráfico are gonna have to get to them, you know, especially after the crazy goal like Bowanga scored and it still wasn't enough. Like, yeah, I think LAFC's gonna be up for this one.
I think obviously bringing back Carlos Vela, which I think can be a real game changer as far as the locker room goes. Do I expect him to be a regular starter? No. I do expect him to be a pivotal player, especially coming off the bench for LAFC. But to have a guy that has worn that captain's armband for was literally LAFC. You know, first player they signed was Carlos Vela. I think that's a very important signing, and I think a lot of the players are going to, I guess, kind of fall in line, right, to like get back and set the tone again. And it starts with this Austin FC game, and I just can't see Austin having a bounce back. I just can't. Nor do I want to see it. And and so, but I think LAFC they're too good not to keep slipping.
Bro, something else, by the way, I just realized. Suspended for this game is Sebastian Driussi.
Oh, okay. LAFC. Easy. That's their best player.
Yeah, it's literally their best player. Minus someone like maybe like
like what
Pereira,
Honda said with Montreal, they're cooked.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's and Heinz Ike, their starting center back, is also out. So
stick a fork in them. They're done.
GG's. Austin, maybe don't even get on the plane. Like I would just even debate that far. I think LAFC.
Mercy, this is going to be the first time in history we see a mercy rule in football.
A mercy rule. They say, hey, that's it. It's done. It's done. Vela just scored a fucking hat trick. This game's over.
Dead.
He's already dead. Yeah, bro. I think this game is.
Which, if you're an Austin FC fan, you really, really don't want this loss to be what it is, because you obviously this weekend you know who you're going up against. Yeah. And I promise you, I will not shut the fuck up.
But yeah, part of me hopes that I can pick out some flaws in LAFC's game, because again, we do take them on at the weekend on Saturday. They come down to Texas for that game. I hope I spot some things I can be hopeful about for my team. But yeah, I don't think Austin now.
Watch the Houston games. The Houston games will tell you everything.
Yes, that's going to be the tape.
What, play good defense?
Which we don't have, but maybe there's some kind of system there, right? Like, who knows? Yeah, man, I don't see a chance in hell for Austin in this one, but it would be the most MLS thing of all time for all of us to be wrong, and Austin FC to find a way without Driussi, without Heinz Ike, to pull a result in this game. We'll see, man. We'll see. And then finally, last but not least, we go to the West Coast for the night game. Portland taking on the Galaxy. Look, a Portland team that has a lot to prove right now. They're still fighting for a playoff spot. It is not guaranteed by any means. They have teams like Minnesota and Dallas right on their heels trying to take their place. And they host, right now, the top dog in the West, coming off of a very epic victory against LAFC. So big game coming off an L at Colorado. Bro, how I don't know. First off, how
not only losing to Colorado with down a man.
yeah, that's crazy, bro. And also it just shows you what Colorado's capable of now. But putting that aside, right? Like we had a guy from Portland really trying to slam our takes on Portland for the last episode. Like us saying that Portland was kind of, I think Honda, you might have commented on it, like kind of 50-50, but then you clarified like why you picked them. And I'm like, look, bro, yeah, I think he mentioned like they're never out of a game, they never give up, et cetera, et cetera. These stats at home, I'm like, sure, at home, whatever. But some of the teams that you've played against haven't been the greatest. And that's why the stats look the way that they look. Not to mention the road record is pretty bad. So you combine that with going up against a team who's building some pretty decent form, coming off an epic comeback. Royce, like he's getting more integrated, right? Ricky Puig, he has to be that guy. It looks like he is that guy.
He stepped up.
He did massively stepped up. And bro, Jovic is trying finishes that I'm like, damn, bro, like just like a clinical nine.
I think going back to the Portland thing because I saw the comment as well, but
yeah,
like we never said anything bad about Portland. We said they have a really good attack. They just can't defend. To quote Jerry Seinfeld, you know how to get the lead. You just don't know how to hold the lead.
Facts.
And that's like the really important part when it comes to playing soccer.
That's NYCFC.
Holding.
I was going to say, just ask Davi. NYCFC is the most important part of the game. is to take advantage of a game when you have the lead. And for that reason, it's always going to put a question mark on how reliable it is to bank on Portland seeing through these matches, even at home. When you're struggling against St. Louis, how are you going to do it against the Galaxy? Now, granted, Galaxy aren't the best road team, but I still think that this is going to be a tough game for them, and they're going to need their heavy hitters to show up in a big way if they want to make the playoffs. Because we ran through Portland's schedule previously, right? In terms of where they are, some dicey games, right? That they coming up on the horizon that they really kind of have to take advantage of the opportunities they have now. So
I mean, LA Galaxy, we're gonna have LA Galaxy Saturday, Real Salt Lake, Vancouver next week. Then you got Austin. That's probably a win. You got
no offense.
Go against FC. Then you got FC Dallas, and then you got to end the season with the Cascadia.
Yeah. And keep in mind, for those who are also like, for the Austin fans who are watching this part, they're like, oh, that should also be a win for Dallas. Keep in mind, Dallas beat them last time, so fuck off. Second, it's just from there, it's like, it's very, very difficult, man. You got maybe one guaranteed win in that stretch of 6. And so, I don't know, Portland, not they have to win this game, but they can't let Galaxy blow them out. They can't. Like, this has to be a game where they keep it tight. If not, comfortably try and win this game at home in the Rose City. So, Honda, look, your team's road form. Realistically, you think that is there a clear-cut path to getting it done here and taking it back to Carson?
As bad as we shit on their defense, no, there's no clear-cut like path for Galaxy to win this game, right? We'll just have to see during the game itself, but this stinks a fucking trap game for Galaxy as well too because of Portland's offense. And if they get those again, free kicks, corners, right? They'll find some goals in there, and then Galaxy would have to make their way up again away from home, which we've seen. We've lost to St. Louis, we've lost to Chicago, we've lost to Dallas, Austin, right? Teams that we should have beat that we didn't. Portland, it's not a clear-cut team that we should be beating. However, in the form that we're in right now, especially coming off of El Tráfico win, we expect another win, right? I'm still going to back my boys. We're going to win. We're probably going to win like 3-2, something like that. It's going to be a high-scoring game, hopefully, right? But
yeah. This was tough. I could see a draw, best case scenario for Portland. Like, I don't know why. I just don't feel like Portland wins this game. I don't know like why I feel that way. Maybe it's some of the recent results they've had there. I know they had that great result against RSL, but like outside of that, there just hasn't been a lot to write home about. I'm going to call a draw for this one. I think it's going to be like a 2-2.
I'm there with you. I'm on the draw as well. I think Portland has definitely got a lot of firepower on them. To the Portland fan that's listening right now, they can score goals. We know that. We're not questioning that part. But guess what? The other team they're going up against, they're also really good at that part too. I do prefer Galaxy's defense more than I do Portland. I mean, at this point, I'd take anybody's defense. Okay, that's a lie because San Jose and New England are things.
I was gonna say I don't know about anybody's defense, but yeah.
What about NYCFC in the last 15 minutes?
If we combine the defenses of NYC in the first 75 minutes and the Dynamo's final 15 minutes, I think we have the best defense.
Yeah, best defense in the fucking league. Hell yeah.
But still, like, I think it comes to it. If I were to pick a defense, I'd rather have the Galaxy's defense right now. But that's not really saying much. No offense, but Galaxy's defense isn't all there.
Yeah,
it's abysmal. I'll tell you that.
4-2 win. So they definitely know how to outscore you.
Yeah.
I do feel like if this game does go to have a victor, it's going to be a shootout. And I think could be a high 3-3, 2-2 draw.
Yeah. Keep in mind, the Galaxy haven't lost to Portland in the last 7 games. It's been 4 wins, 3 draws. That's kind of why I went draw. I was like, maybe they're kind of overdue for one. Last one back in July, Galaxy won it at home. They drew at Carson back last September. So right around this time, and drew again in March of last season. Now, one was a 0-0, one was a 3-3. The 0-0 came in Portland. So I don't know. It just, for some reason, screams draw to me. But I like that take. Davi, your pick?
You know what? I'm going to go Portland on this one. I think Honda put it right. I think this could be a trap game for the Galaxy. And, coming up from California, Southern California, going up to Oregon. I think on a midweek, I think that could definitely cost LA, and I'm going to go 2-1 Portland on this one.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
As well too.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, right? They got to go right back to LA and get ready for Vancouver on Saturday. And so that's another big game that I think will test the Galaxy as well. They might have to rotate a little bit against Portland for that. Even if they rotate, that's why I think if it's a rotation lineup, I think it's still a draw. I
also think Portland are kind of they're a hungry team. They really want to get into the playoffs, and I think their desire. Something Nick Cushing desire, right? To win the game.
This is also a must-win game for Portland as well, too.
Yeah, bro. They're literally right on the cusp. Like one of those fringe teams where if they don't figure it out for these next 6+ matches, they could go up or down. Like it's really anybody's guess, and they're gonna need some help, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Could the Galaxy possibly feel the hangover from the win as well? Like that could possibly play a part, maybe the hangover and like the comeback and how crazy was all in the moment. And,
yeah,
they might still be thinking about that comeback, and then Portland with Evander and all the players that they have, they could just hit them with a quick one too. And
we also talked about Ricky Puig being that guy, but when he's not on it, then the team goes to shit. Thankfully, Marco Royce is here as well too, so he could be like kind of a backup or the actual guy that actually leads. Because if you watch the last game, it wasn't until Marco Royce said, okay, you know what, let me get involved a little bit. And then it made Ricky Puig do what he was supposed to do. He
kind of pushed deeper into the midfield, especially on the first goal, I think it was, where he pushed in, grabbed the ball, carried, combined with Puig, opened up space, and then boom, the shot came through. I think that's I think the more he does that, because he's not going to be the pacey guy that makes runs in behind, like a Gabriel Peck would, like a Ricky Puig might, like a Joveljic would. I think he's going to be one of those ones that he's creative enough to distribute. I think that Royce probably will have to step up so that Puig, there's not so much pressure on Puig to be the guy between now, decision day, and then playoffs. So exactly. Yeah, man, I think it'll be a close game. It'll be a good one though. I think it's going to be one of the games of the week.
It's reasons like that why he was the captain of Dortmund for so long.
Yeah, 1000%. By the way, bro, before we move on to quickfire predictions, I just want to say this about the El Tráfico before we move on. Edwin Cerrillo, who grew up like an hour south of me, an hour and 15 south.
Fucking banger that he put
That
off.
fucking goal, bro. Oh, I was so happy for him. I was so happy for him, man.
Dude, that's a goal you dream of scoring in, like no matter.
Oh my
where
god!
you
I think he
play.
couldn't even believe it. I think when he ran around, it was like a crazy celebration because it's like, when will he ever score a goal like that again? Like it was insane, bro. I was so happy for him, man.
Literally, when I was watching, I was like, "That's Jose's dog. That's the guy we."
Yes,
got.
bro. I love Cerrillo. I was pretty bummed whenever we sold him, but I understand why. And he's someone that I think will just continue to blossom in this league. I think he's a great player. So,
I
yeah,
feel like
bro.
Dusty Dallas could definitely use him right now.
Oh my God, we could definitely use him right now. It was the poor timing of it all, but at the end of the day, I'm happy for him. I'm glad he's balling, and it looks like he's enjoying life in LA. So, hell of a fucking goal by Cerrillo. All right, lads, that is it. That is our preview portion of tonight's episode. Let's move into our quickfire predictions, and we'll get out of here. All right, so this was an interesting one to start things off. Atlanta hosting Miami.
Man, realistically, Miami, bro. Like, I want to go Atlanta.
Miami revenge game.
Yeah, could be revenge game. It's in the Mercedes Benz. It's a midweek game.
That's not a fortress anymore.
That's not a fortress anymore.
No, I think they got Messi, and they don't. So give me the team with Messi.
Give me a draw just for the fucking shits and giggles. I just want to see what happens here. I think there's a very MLS result coming, and I'm banking on this being that. So we'll find
You
out.
really want me to go Atlanta?
No. I hope it's the game after for Miami.
Oh,
I hope
yeah,
You
fair
want
enough.
Miami to secure their place, so that way they don't.
So that way they let off the gas for the
I'm
next
not-
one.
I'm not gonna
Yeah, I see you, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. Even if we win that game, it's still cushing out.
Sound like a real.
It happened to Pineda on Atlanta, so no,
You're
doesn't
right.
matter what kind of win. No manager in the hot seat is safe. All right, New England hosting Montreal. In all honesty,
Montreal revenge game. Let's go.
They don't have Lassiter. They're cooked.
Wrong.
honestly, bro, I part of me is like, I'll be honest, part of me is like, who cares when it comes to
Bro,
this game?
this is literally.
This is you're not watching any highlights on.
Yeah.
We said that last time though about this game, and yeah, Bobby
It was
Wood
like 5-0 or some shit. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna pop up for the goals when it comes to MLS 360, but 5-0 is still not an enjoyable game unless
it's
you're
not.
supporting the team that scored 5 goals.
Yeah.
So,
This team, by the way, has not. These two teams have not drawn any of the last 12 against one another. So take that for what it's worth.
oh, so you're saying they're due?
They could be overdue. Yeah, they could be long overdue for a draw. I'm gonna stick with the Revs. I think the 5-0. It won't be a 5-0 again, but I think it carries over a little bit into this game. I think it's gonna be like something stupid, like a 1-0, and again another boring game that most fans probably won't tune into unless
I'm
you're
gonna
a Revs
continue
or
with
Montreal.
Montreal though. I'm gonna go with Montreal.
I'm gonna say 2-0 New England.
That's a good pick. Hector?
Give me the Revs.
Yeah. All right, we'll see how that one goes. Toronto hosting Columbus.
Will they have a keeper?
Will they have a keeper?
They definitely will have a keeper.
You know
Yes.
what? I think keeper, no keeper. I think Columbus still wins this game.
Yeah, give me Columbus on this one.
Toronto at home, coming off the win against Austin.
It's
They
Austin,
have
bro.
to make
It's
playoffs.
Austin,
Toronto's in
bro.
that 8th spot, boys. They're in that 8th spot.
I mean,
Yeah, but the bottom
Columbus
teams
just
are-
battled it in the Hell is Real derby. I mean, 0-0 draw and all, but it was a battle.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. I was so bummed they didn't have goals, though.
Yeah.
It was a little disappointing from a neutral standpoint. I'm gonna take. I mean, it's so safe to pick Columbus, but I'm gonna go with the draw.
All right.
I'll take Columbus.
Everybody else has Columbus.
Mhm.
All right, I'll be the black sheep. Here we go. Orlando versus Charlotte. I almost include this in the preview because to me this is an interesting game. Both teams need this. Charlotte has dipped off a little bit in recent form. Slid down to 7th, I believe. I should check that. Yeah, 7th. So
Yeah,
5th
7th.
against 7th in the East.
Orlando's looking a little frisky. Just
They did. I
saying.
mean, to be fair, it was Nashville and the Revs, but yes. I will say, I mean, Charlotte just doesn't look good lately. I don't know what it is. They haven't notched a win in like a month and a half almost.
It's because they didn't get their striker.
I'm telling you, bro, they need that. Tim Ream's not a bad signing, but when you have when you're one of the best clean sheet teams in the league, you don't need another fucking defender. You need a striker. I'm gonna go Orlando.
Orlando's gonna prove themselves why they're there.
Pareja masterclass incoming.
I'm gonna go 1-1.
1-1 draw. Okay, not bad. And Hector,
I mean, I gotta keep going with them. I got
championship DVD moment incoming.
Orlando.
Minnesota versus Cincinnati. Minnesota have to win to keep Dallas off of their backs a little bit. So,
I mean, it's not quite clear you could back Cincinnati because they've had some moments where like you expect them to win some games and they've come up with like zeros against like Chicago Fire or something like that.
But I think that I think Noonan is trying to get the guys into some decent form before playoffs get here. I think they have to get it going if they want to compete with Columbus, Miami, anybody in between. I'm going to use my agenda. I need Minnesota to lose. I'm going to back Cincinnati.
I'll back that. I think they win.
Is it weird that I see Minnesota winning?
No, it's not weird. I mean, Minnesota's had a decent run of form lately, so it's not weird at all.
It'll probably be like a 2-1 or something like that, but I do see some Minnesota winning.
Hana going with the Loons.
Give me Cincinnati.
Yes, sir, my man. All right, and they have a decent away record outside the last month or so. So we'll see how it goes. Nashville hosting Chicago. Another game that I probably won't tune into much, but
Nashville.
But
Nashville.
On this show we should all back Nashville because we collectively said they're going to move from 15th place into a fucking playoff spot,
and they already moved up one spot. So
the momentum is just going to keep going. The train's
not the moron.
Yeah, I'll take. I mean, Chicago. I'll take Nashville on this one. That's fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't back Chicago anymore, bro. Like even if I win, I can't.
I've been burned so many times collectively in this season alone. It's the agenda's done. I've given.
Dude, me and you both.
I did.
Yeah, bro. It's
been wild. I hate picked against the Red Bulls for Chicago, man. Chicago won. So, but
you got no hate for Nashville.
I'm not gonna back them this time. I'm gonna go Nashville.
Yeah. Hector, same thing. Yeah, Nashville. Yeah, we're all in. We're
rocking with BJ.
Walking with BJ. Kansas City hosting the Rapids. Bro, give me the Rapids.
Rapids.
Yeah, they look significantly better. And then finally, Seattle hosting San Jose.
Seattle 4-0. Let's go.
4-0. I don't know if Seattle's even capable of 4 goals, to be honest. Maybe.
Who's going to score those 4 goals?
I don't know. Seattle, I mean, they could, I guess.
Jordan Morris does good against shit teams. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they did beat. I mean, technically, it came after the keeper red card scenario, but they pumped it 4 on Columbus. So
hey, you can only deal with what's in front of you.
That's fair. But I think it'll probably be like a shithousery 1 or 2-0. But I think it's going to be San Jose. Or sorry, Seattle.
It'll be
San Jose.
It'll be Seattle, but Stallion is still going to find a way for us to not believe in the Seattle Sounders.
Because he'll say, "Look who we're playing against. Look at who we get the big wins against." Bro, I already know exactly how he thinks about.
I can already hear his voice in my head.
Same.
I need Stallion just to put a banner in his room, and every day he just looks at it and knows fight.
Bro, shut up. No, a fight and win. Come
on, Seattle.
Come on, Seattle.
Yeah, but just Photoshop his face on the dude.
Bro, they're gonna comfortably make playoffs. I just don't know what this team does after that. Like, we'll find out. They might go around, maybe 2 win, but I don't think them going much further past that. Just because it's gonna feel like last season. They'll beat someone like Dallas in the first round, and after that, it's like whatever. They'll lose to LAFC or just to a real team who's gonna end up going on to make MLS Cup. So
I'm gonna back Seattle 3-0.
3-0. Yeah. Well, it's San Jose. I don't get the crazy shout anymore. San Jose is so far off the fucking rails. At this point, Christian Espinoza, if you happen to tune into this episode, bro, find another team, bro. Find a way to force yourself out of that contract, out of that team. Bro, come on.
Hey,
like we'll sell Ferreira, we'll bring in Espinoza. Espinoza, Velasco, and Musa. Give me that front three all fucking day.
I hear
It would be less
certain-
money too, right?
Yeah, Ferrer's a DP. So I mean,
hear
Espinoza is too, but
a certain Argentine in New York might retire at the end of the season. So why not bring in Maradona? We'll give you a little coke.
why not bring in Maradona?
Yeah,
For the
Maradona,
vibes, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Just to get you guys over that last 15-minute hump. I
Hernan
feel that.
Lopez. Well, we'll give you a little coke on the side
You
and
know.
just play for us.
All right.
nothing
It
says
is New York. It is
Nothing
New
says
York.
New
right?
York like that Maradona DNA.
That's what I'm saying. It is New York. So, you never fucking know. You never know. But yeah, man, look, there's going to be some craziness unfolding tomorrow because we are recording this the day before, but the video will be coming out the day of these midweek MLS matches. Look, guys, tune in, watch the predictions first, tune in, and let us know how well we did, man. Like I said, our midweek record's not that great. We're definitely better on the weekend, but I got a feeling this is the week we break that fucking duck, man. So we'll see how it goes. But look, if you haven't done so already, like the video down below, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try and get another predictions video out for the weekend matches coming up. We'll see who participates in that one. But no matter what, we're going to keep the train rolling. All right. So for everybody here at Wake Up MLS, my name's Jose. That's Honda. That's Hector. That's Davi. We'll catch you guys next time.